And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein too. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. And he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree, and all the trees, when they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves, that summer is now nigh at hand. So likewise ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
Okay, so Jesus was talking about the end times there, and there's a whole lot of information in there if you want to get into that and talk about the prophecies and what there's going on there. But I focused on that because I was talking about the number 444. And I said, Jesus said, watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Okay, this phrase, stand before the Son of Man, was what was in my dream. Okay, and look, I had the dream at 4:44 in the morning. There's 444. Who's the Son of Man? Jesus is the Son of Man. Now I just showed you the English Gematria. Jesus is 444. Okay, so it's like a code of some sort to me, that it works out that way. Okay. Also, if you look into the Greek, you can find that Jesus equals 888. I don't speak Greek, but it says in Greek the name of Jesus is spelled iota, eta, sigma, Omicron, Upsilon, Sigma. Okay, you're probably laughing at me, Yanni. Okay, I get it. I don't speak Greek. Substituting in the Greek numeral system the equivalent numerical values to each letter in the name of Jesus and adding them up, the total is 888. This value is represented by, I'm not even going to try, omega pi eta, and does not look like 888. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm lost. Anyways, you can go to this website and you want to read all about it, go ahead. I just pulled this up out of a Google search or start page search, and this guy, I don't know if I can endorse him or not. I don't know what he's talking about really, but it should be commonly known, I think, that when you add up the letters, okay, see, oh, here we go. As you know, Yanni, but other people may not. A lot of languages use letters as numbers, kind of like Roman numerals. And I guess the iconic Greek ciphered numeral system as best I can tell here, it shows alpha equals 1, b equals 2. It's kind of like English gematria, or simple gematria. So it's like a gematria that's already in place. And Jewish, or the Hebrew language, is the same way. English doesn't do that. You have to kind of assign numbers to English, and that's what they did in English gematria, going up by multiples of 6. Simple gematria just assigned numbers to letters, going 1, 2, 3. So here we got alpha, beta, gamma, delta, on and so forth, assigned with a number. Once you get up to 10, it goes by 10, 20, this doesn't go 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It just starts going up by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 70, 90. As you get up to 100, it starts going up by hundreds. And so when you take the Greek letters for Jesus, you end up with a sum of 888. And I know the Hebrew language works a similar way too. Jesus was speaking Greek, and in the Greek here, whoops, I lost it. Well, you saw earlier, Jesus was 444, the Son of Man. Okay, so in that previous video, on that YouTube channel, Yanni and 3 Before Joy, or whatever I called it, I talk about how I took a screenshot on that date. The dream was at 4:44 in the morning, but I was flipping out, and I wasn't able to even think really, and it wasn't until 4:54 that I actually took a screenshot. It was on a Saturday, and it was October 15th. This is 2016. And yes, I live in Fernley. And I was listening to Faith Comes by Hearing, and it was in Genesis 39, and I've gone back and I've figured out what came 10 minutes before Genesis 39. I'm trying to remember what chapter it was now, but in the previous study I went back, and it was talking about Joseph's dream. How Joseph had a dream about the she's bowing down to him, and the stars bowing down to him, and how he became a pharaoh, the second to the pharaoh. Well, eventually he became second to the pharaoh, but it talks about his dream. So he was having a dream, I was having a dream. Okay, I'm not saying I'm going to be second to the pharaoh. Okay, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying it was about dreams. Okay, and at 4:44 I wake up. Now there's a lot more to this, a lot more. If you just type in 444 into YouTube, you'll find 100 trillion videos on 4444. You know, everyone having their 444 video. Okay, and everyone has an idea what it means to them, and blah blah blah. Some of them are Christians, some of them are not. Some of them think astrology, you know, some things spiritual, blah 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 blah. To me, what I looked at when I showed you the English gematria stuff, 444, and Jesus' number adding up to 444, and all that sort of stuff, that's evidence. That's real numbers. Okay, it's not just me coming up with some spiritual idea or something. It's actual verifiable information. Okay, and Son of Man, that's verifiable. So those are very interesting coincidences, if you want to call them coincidences. I don't believe in them being coincidences. I think they are somehow designed. I think God does design everything in this world. And I'm going to try to show you something else. Sometimes I'll get things like this. I wasn't actually looking for this. It just popped up. I was just going looking for something else. I've done hundreds of videos, and I never really release them. But anyways, here's Yanni, your name being written on the sea at the bottom of the Red Sea. And when I came across it, it had 4,444 likes. And I thought, and I did, kind of do a video here showing you about, and I didn't actually show it to you. I haven't actually put it up. Of the chariot wheels in the Red Sea regarding Moses. I wasn't really going to do this. Gosh. This is such a... I mean, this is just stuff I got. I got lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. So we can find the chariot wheels. There's a... Alright, we'll just watch here.
From normal coral growth. And it is like a man-made structure with a coral growth on it.
In the midst of them, Pan Qian photographed this circular object attached to what appeared to have been a rope.
Did you see that? I just decided to interrupt the video. And it was straight twos. 222. Okay? Yanni, that's your number. I don't know, I keep getting that number with you. Anyways, okay. What he's talking about, what they're showing you, is what they believe, and I think they're right, is wreckage from when Moses crossed the Red Sea, and the Egyptian army got crushed under the water. And what you're supposedly seeing, I think that's true, is you're seeing the chariot wheels and the axles that have been covered up by thousands of years of coral growth. So let's just continue on and see what they got.
Broken axle or hub.
Did it
To what
again.
appears to have been a broken axle or hub. This discovery was significant for two reasons.
I'm going to back up more.
Pan Qian
With a coral growth on it.
In the midst of them, Pan Qian photographed this circular object attached to what appears to have been a broken axle or hub. This discovery was significant for two reasons. Pan Qian had documented the coral-encrusted form of a wheel with dimensions similar to ancient Egyptian artifacts directly across from the proposed Nuevo crossing site. Her find also provided independent confirmation of earlier evidence establishing wheel-like formations on both coasts of the Red Sea, in accordance with descriptions in the biblical record.
And the Lord looked down on the Egyptian army, and he made the wheels of their chariots come off.
Okay, that's nothing. I saw better ones somewhere else. Ron Wyatt. Chariot. Is that how you spell chariot? I don't know how to spell it. Let's see what we can find. Just hang in there. Might take a little while. Okay, we got period. Period. There you go. How's that for a chariot wheel? Okay. And that is a four-spoked wheel, just like the period. There was different. I can't remember. There was different number of spokes at different periods in Egyptian history, or something. And this apparently fits the right time frame. Ron Wyatt has passed away since then. That chariot wheel there didn't have coral reef on it because I think of the type of metal it was or something. And here's another picture of it down here, I guess. You just look it up yourself. So, you know, something that happened back at the time of Moses obviously is going to have corals growing on it now, but I guess there was some reason that maybe it was under dirt or something. Maybe there's some reason that the coral didn't grow on it. But anyways, you can see like this is an axle sticking up with a chariot wheel there. And back to that 222 thing. I am really taking a rabbit trail right now. So this morning, I'll show you that. I was going to show you about the 444 stuff, but it was 2222. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so Yanni, I saw you post this today, and it got me thinking about that number 222. So let me show you. So the date of the dream was October 15th, 2016, and somebody's birthday in 2020 will be how long after the date of that dream? I forgot to include the last end date in the calculation. Let's try this again. Okay, so from the date of the dream, October 15th, 2016, Saturday, October 15th, 2015, that was the date of the dream. October 15th, 2016, date of the dream to Yanni's birthday, and the year 2022 is 2,222 days. I was just showing you a video I made that I never put up, and I was talking about, oh, there's that 222 again. I didn't know about the 2,222 days till this morning, and this video was done December 23rd, 2018. So you can see in the time code right here, this is today. That was then. And I was just talking about how I saw 444, I guess, in your on the post you made about where was it? What was I talking about? I don't even know what I was talking about, Yanni. I got all kinds of stuff in here. You know, I can't even begin to start. A lot of stuff. I was talking about someone writing Yanni on the bottom of the Red Sea, and I saw that post with 4,444 likes. There it is, 4,444 likes, and that prompted me to do a video, which I had not shown you, regarding Ron Wyatt and the the Red Sea, and the crossing, and how Solomon left those markers, those pillars you saw. You should just look it up. Yeah, these pillars right here. King Solomon left those marking the place in the Gulf of Aqaba where the crossing happened, and that's how they found they stuck submarines underneath the ground, underneath the water, and found the cherry wheels. So I don't know. Let's try here. See what's going on. So this is in the video. Obviously, there's a problem here, but what's going on here? Okay, I'm just following God's lead. Okay, I wasn't going to talk about this. I wasn't going to talk about it then, and I'm not going to talk about it now. Okay, I'm done with that. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Yeah. Let's get back to that dream. Okay, let's just get back to the dream. Here I was talking about the 444 dream and 3 before joy. If you look, there's a lot going on here. This was a very old video, and this date is exactly 1 year before Van Johnson passed away. She passed away on September 27, 2017. I was working on something on 2016, September 27, 2016, regarding 3 before joy and her Dominique's September favorites video. You can find that on her Neek's Oasis video or channel. How she held up her phone at 1:11. On that day, solar noon was at 1:11 over her home. The sun rose at 7:11 that day and set at 7:11. She then held up her phone again at 1:14, and that corresponds to Genesis 1:14. So these numbers are already in my mind quite a bit. Genesis 1:14, when God said, they made the sun, moon, and stars for signs and for seasons, and the word seasons means moed. It means appointed times. There's a lot to talk about here. A lot. And this was a miracle in of itself that she would publish that video. Here, let's take a look at it real quick. Okay, this is the video I'm talking about. She was talking about her favorite things, her favorite makeup or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and she did it on September 27, 2016, and I took notice to something. Now, she's probably erased all my comments. Okay, yeah, I think she has. So, she's not really into this and not really catching the significance of what's going on here. So, anyways, here.
Country, their music is just on point, amazing, wonderful, uplifting, spiritual. Love it all. and it's two brothers that make up the group. My favorite song by them right now, although I did love their previous release, but the one right now is called Priceless. I see you dressed in white, every road made right. I see rose in bloom. It's such a wonderful song. And also the other music that I've been listening to is Nico and Vince. I bought their album last year for my birthday, and I have been playing it ever since. But then I put it down the other day, and recently I just started listening to them again, and I forgot how uplifting that album was. And I love the Afro pop feel to it because I'm very cultural. I love, the Carib vibe. I love that they sing in their language. I don't know which one it is, but it's a beautiful African language. And my two favorite songs right now are Ima, yeah, Ima, yeah. And I believe it means striving. The other one that I love is called Imagine. I love the drumming going on. It reminds me of the Lion King song, Owimawe. It's so wonderful to listen to. So I've been jamming to those two songs lately. Nico and Vince and For King and Country have been on repeat. I'm gonna ride the same inspirational wave here. There are a few apps on my phone on the front part that I have been...
Did you just see that? Okay, now just before this happened, I had been talking to her about some numbers that have been happening in my life regarding them. And she erased the comments, so they're gone now, okay? So I got this comment. Let's wrote here. Yeah, she won't even read my emails or anything. It's like getting ridiculous now. Okay, so I tried. She's erased my comments, but she had mentioned that I told her, that was very interesting, and then that you had your phone up at 111, and she's all, I thought you might say something, because there's a lot more to that 111 than she knew, but she knew I might pick something up, but she didn't know. But so watch her reaction here.
For King and Country have been on repeat. I'm gonna ride the same inspirational wave here. There are a few apps on my phone on the front part that I have been just meditating on. The words.
Did you catch that? When you looked at her eyebrows, she was looking at her phone and she kind of frowned a little bit. Why? Because she looked and saw it was 111, and I just talked to her about these numbers, and then it actually happened to her.
On the front part.
Okay, so what's the big deal about that? Well, on September 27th, 2016, I was trying to talk to her about, what it comes down to is signs in the heavens. And I was already, there's a lot of background information going on here. They don't talk to me at all now, okay? And for 3 years, or I barely ever got to talk to her. But, so really they just ignore me. But, let me give you kind of a background what's going on. This is so complicated. Okay, so they're located in Coral Springs, Florida, which is near you, Yanni. Not too far away. And so anyways, let's see. She was doing that video in September in 2016. Okay. Now, let's look at the sun chart here and see what was going on over Coral Springs on September 27, 2016. There it is. Okay. What time did the sun rise? It rose at 7:11. Solar noon was at 1:11 p.m. and it set at 7:11 p.m. Okay. If it had been one day before, that wouldn't have worked. If it had been one day after, it still wouldn't have had that 7:11. It would have been a 1:11 solar noon. On the 29th, we still had 1:11, and on the 30th, it went to 1:10. Okay, so solar noon's right over here. 1:11, 1:11, 1:11. Okay, 1111. Okay. But she did it on the 27th. Now that's also 1 year exactly before Jan Van Johnson went to heaven. Okay. 1 year before that. So there's a lot more going on. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what's going on here. Just the tip. Let's look at something else. Okay. I just put into YouTube Genesis 1:14. Okay. I have never seen this video here. And some guy's doing a video about sun, moon, and stars, signs in heaven. Genesis 1:14. This is a commonly known thing.
Sin and its effects. The church and individual Christian evangelists must preach the biblical gospel with comprehensive...
Let's see.
I think if you consider that Moses was writing all of this, that he wrote Genesis and that he wrote Exodus, and
I'm not going to bore you with this. You can go watch these videos if you want, but I'm just trying to point out there's something significant about Genesis 1:14. Astronomy versus astrology. Let's look at this.
The Bible tells us that the stars are the handiwork of God in Genesis 1:14. And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." The primary application of this passage is that the stars are meant as markers of time and space. For example, we base time and our clocks on the rotation of the planets and the stars. Sailors also traveling the seas use the stars to mark geographic positions using the stars as signs. That, I believe, is the primary application of Genesis 1:14. But there are instances in which the stars are not only used for calculating time and marking space, but at God's holy discretion and at His discretion alone, He has used the stars biblically as supernatural and miraculous signs to communicate His intentions towards mankind.
Okay, so I'll leave it there for that. You can go back and watch this video if you want. This is a commonly known thing. People talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to go talk about it. So let's go to Genesis 1:14. By the way, I think the Earth is billions of years old. I don't think it's 4,000 years or 6,000 years old. The Bible doesn't say it's 6,000 years old. It's been, you can add up the ages of people since Adam and Eve, and that's about 6,000 years or so. But if you look up Dr. Gerald Schroeder, how do I spell Gerald Schroeder? Is that how you spell it? Okay, this guy was an MIT physicist. He saw nuclear bombs blow up, things like that. He talks about the age of the universe, how it corresponds to the book of Genesis, and he gets into basically the book of Genesis is like a parable. It's like a riddle, just like the book of Revelation is. Okay, when we look at the book of Revelation, we're going to see these beasts coming out of the sea with 7 heads. That's symbolic. Just like Daniel, he saw a bunch of animals that represented prophecies, okay, of empires and things like that. The book of Genesis is a riddle. So if you're taking it literal, you're missing the point in a lot of ways. Okay, now there may be some things in here that are literal, but it is a real disconnect for scientists and Christianity when they try to look at the book of Genesis, because they don't get the fact that it is basically a riddle. It is, and so I would recommend watching some Dr. Gerald Schroeder videos regarding that. He's was an MIT physicist, or he was from MIT. Evolution in the Bible, Torah in the Bible. I don't know exactly which ones you should watch. Age of the Universe might be a good one here. He does an interview with some of these are old videos. He did one with Zola Levitt, if I can find that, but Zola Levitt has passed away. I don't even know if Dr. Gerald Schroeder's alive anymore. But he gets into it, and he really explains it pretty well. So that's another thing I don't want to get too sidetracked on. So let's get back to Genesis 1:14. Okay? And God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, seasons, and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So what's the greater light? That's the sun. And what's the lesser light? That's the moon. and he made the stars also. So up here it said, and God said, let there be lights, plural, in the firmament of the heaven. Okay, so basically we got the sun and the moon as the lights and the stars. And therefore what? Therefore signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. Now the word seasons is a bad translation of the word moed. If you look at this word, if we can get it to work, come on, work please. I'll just leave it there. It says from H3259, properly an appointment, that is a fixed time or season, specifically a festival, conventionally a year, by implication an assembly, as convened for a definite purpose, technically the congregation, by extension the place of meeting, also a signal, as appointed beforehand, appointed time, or appointed sign, time, place of solemn assembly, congregation, set, solemn feast, appointed, due, season, solemnity, synagogue, set, time, appointed. Let me ask you, when you read that, you see a lot of things about meetings, you see things about appointed times, an assembly, festivals, but a lot of appointments. It's a lot of appointments. It is not spring, summer, fall, and winter. I don't see spring flowers in there. I don't see summer sun. I don't see fall leaves in autumn, falling leaves, or winter snow. There might be a time of season, that is a fixed time or season, but it really means an appointment. Okay, so God's making the sun and the moon and stars for signs and seasons, and for days and years. Signs, probably in the sense of appearing a signal, literally or figuratively, as a flag, beacon, monument, omen, prodigy, evidence, etc., mark, miracle, and sign, token. Okay, so yes, it's obviously communication. God's saying, I'm going to make the sun and the moon and the stars, and I'm going to communicate to you guys through this. Okay? So, that was Genesis 1:14. Let's go back to Dominique's video. Now, I just showed you how she held up her phone at 1:11, and above her house on that particular day, we had the sun rising at 7:11. It was 1:11 when solar noon happened, and it was setting at 7:11. Now, she held up her phone at 1:11 in her not her dumb video, but her video. Now, she recorded it a few days before, but she posted that day on September 27th, 2016, which is exactly 1 year before Van Johnson passed away. Okay? She has no idea what she's doing. She has no idea what's going on here.
So wonderful to listen to. So I've been on repeat. I'm gonna ride the same inspirational wave here. There are a few apps on my phone on the front part that I have been just meditating on. The words that I've read in them, it really does something for me. So there's an app called Calm. When I open it, it has lovely pictures like this, and there are some sounds. Every day I must have a moment or a time where I just really meditate and relax, not thinking about the world and problems, but just thinking about nothing. You can change up the scenes, like sunset, and you'll hear the sounds change as well. Rain on leaves, silent clouds. It's really silent, like there's nothing there. So right next to
what'd she do? Let's back it up a little bit. Let's go to full screen. Alright, sorry Dominique for catching you in a goofy picture there, but here we go. Let's slow it down so we can actually see what she does here.
There's nothing there. So right.
Oh, gee, she's pointing at it, okay? She's literally pointing at it. What did I just show you? Genesis 1:14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for what? Signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. So what's the sign here, ladies? Okay, you know. Sunrise is 7:11, 1:11, 7:11. That's the sun. Okay. Yes, there's more to this. The ratios of the Great Pyramids were, the Great Pyramid is 7 to 11. It's 1.11 miles from 7-Eleven in one direction to their place to another 7-Eleven in another direction. I could go on. I got so much stuff on this, you would not believe it. And that corresponds to the 111. Geographically, on the map, where in Coral Springs, okay, it actually works out like this. I'm not going to show you all that right now. There was alignments with those 7-Elevens on Pacific days for things. There's amazing stuff going on here that is way beyond. I mean, it's a God thing. Okay, it's a God thing. All right, so I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to try to. What am I doing? I'm trying to talk to you about the 444 thing because there's another alignment. Hold on. Okay, I am totally. Remember, I haven't worked on this in over a year. Okay, I have thousands of slides, hundreds of videos, tons of information. I have forgotten most of it. Let's rediscover something. I have even no idea what I'm looking at right now. Okay, I don't. I discovered the circumference of a circle that has the same radius as the beginning to the ending points of sunrise is 111.44 miles. I discovered it at 1:11 p.m. This shocked me. I had no idea what time it was until I looked, because I saw that it was 111.44 miles. I was shocked that I could even get a cursor pointer to fall on a point of 111.444 miles. I was noticing it was 111 miles, and I had this thought as I was trying to line it up as, what if it comes out to 111.44 miles? I just thought it. I wasn't really looking at the measurement because I was trying to line it up. Just then I click it and was shocked to see it came out just like that, like my thought. Then I looked at the time and I was blown away. So 111 looks like. Okay, I don't even know what it's doing. I don't know what was going on there. Something impressed me. I have forgotten. What I do know, there was a sunrise. The sunrise before. Okay, I have very few lines up on the computer right now. If I turn them all on, it'll crash the computer. Basically, I need to get into talking about this point right here in the middle, right in this rainbow, okay? This is the contact point of Jupiter's alignment with Hezi and Spica when it was born for the September 23rd, 2017 sign. It happened actually on September 9th, when at the exact hour that Hurricane Irma was striking Naples, Florida. It was a sign of the sea and the waves roaring. It is such a sign. I'm pretty sure it is. I know it is, okay? Now, I live over here, okay, in Reno, or Fernley, Nevada. I'm looking east in my dream, not on the same date. Okay, I'm looking east in my dream on October 15th, 2016. Unbeknownst to me at the time, that the sun would be rising from this direction. Where do you see the rainbow? Okay. On September 9th, when the first contact point of Jupiter, Hezi, and Spica happened. I have to show you that, so you understand what that's about. Because this is so much complicated stuff going on. But my whole point is my house and the sun was precisely aligned with this point that I had no idea, I didn't know it was happening at all. And if it had been off by 1 minute, hold on. Let's zoom in. I don't have my mouse with me right now. I'm using the keyboard controls. If it had been off by 1 minute, it wouldn't have worked. So again, I haven't looked at this in like a year, so let's take a look at this. And do I have any notes? No notes. Okay, Earth's first contact with Jupiter's birth alignment, 2:59 a.m. 21 seconds. Okay, Pacific time. Okay, that's what happened on September 9th, 2006. No, it's 2017. The dream was on October 15th, 2016, so a little bit before, about a year before. But I didn't know it was happening. And I didn't discover that it was in line like this until afterwards. So let's try to see if we can get some notes here on things. Okay. 77.408 degrees. Sun's angle at 4:44 and 25 seconds a.m. on October 15th, 2016. That's the date that I had the dream. At this time, the sun was aligned with the first point of contact from Jupiter's birth alignment that happened on September 9th, 2017. Notice it's past tense. I discovered it after the fact. Okay? Notice my wording's at past tense. That happened on September 9th, 2017. This means that my dream at 4:44 a.m. on October 15, 2016 was at the exact time that the sun's alignment corresponded to where the first contact would occur. This is absolutely incredible and absolutely 100% proof that my dream was from God. I have to show you what this alignment's all about. And then we can get into this alignment with the sun on their place. This is another alignment. It's within 1/70th of the width of the sun. And I put a bunch of lines up there so you can see what a 70th of the width of the sun looks like. Maybe you can see that. That's different. Okay, let me go back to... I think it'll be in here. Hold on. This is slow.
And 3 days from now, I'll be cooling my toes in the surf with you.
Okay, I love you too.
Prepare for a rude awakening.
Line are completely moot. Now we see that the signs in the heavens, and I would just like to point out one very briefly, as it says in Revelation 12:1, there is a great sign in the heavens of the woman, clothed with the sun, the moon beneath her feet, above her head a crown of 12 stars, she laboring, travailing in birth, about to be delivered, and she brought forth a man-child who is to rule all nations with a rod of iron. That constellation that is being spoken of there is not Virgo, as it is in the West, but Betula, which in Hebrew means the virgin. In the virgin's...
Virgo also means virgin, I think.
Hand is a star which is called Semach, and that word is used 5 times by the Hebrew prophets, each time referring to the Messiah, and capitalized by the King James translators, capital B-R-A-N-C-H, because they all recognize it spoke of the Messiah. First of all, the branch, the Semach, as the king, the servant, the Son of Man, the atoning sacrifice, and the judge, and that's why we have 5 Gospels. In Matthew, he's Messiah, the branch, the king. In Mark, he's the servant. In Luke, the Son of Man. In John, the Son of God, the atoning sacrifice. And in the Revelation, he is the Messiah, the judge. And it is each one of these stars speak of the coming of the Messiah. And just as in Tishri 1 of 3999, as the sun was setting, and she, the Betula, was clothed with the sun, that's when the first sliver of the new moon appeared beneath her feet. that designated that it was Tishri 1, the high Sabbath of the day of the awakening trumpet, when the announcements are made, not only in the heavens, but also upon the earth. And it was on that very time that between the feet of the next constellation above her head, which is not Leo, but Ariel in Hebrew, the lion of the tribe of Judah, there's a star in the Hebrew called Hamalek, which is the king. And just as Jacob said over his son Judah, that the scepter, the rulership, will not depart from between the feet of Judah until Messiah comes. At that very moment, when the first sliver of the new moon appeared beneath the feet of Bethulah, the planet Jupiter, which in Hebrew is Hatzedek, or the righteous one, came into conjunction with Hamalek, and that was the moment that Hatzedek, the righteous king, his birth was announced on Tishri 1, 3999. That was the great sign in the heavens that the Chaldean astronomers searched the heavens for over 500 years. Daniel, who was a eunuch in the court of Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon. He was in charge of all the Chaldean astronomers for over 60 years of his life. He knew when the Messiah is coming. He knew the courses of the stars in heaven and knew the sign that would announce the birth of the Messiah. And he, who had no offspring because he was a eunuch, and being one of the wealthiest men in the entire Chaldean empire, made a great man and the president under 3 kings, he then took his treasure before he died and he put it in the hands of the Chaldean astronomers who were Jews and said, you watch the stars, you watch the heavens, and when you see this great sign in the heavens, I want you to take my treasure and lay it at the feet of my Lord. And 500 years later, those Chaldean Jewish astronomers came into Jerusalem and said, we have come to worship he who is born King of the Jews. We have seen his star and we've come to worship him. This is the sign that is in the heaven, and that is where God begins the story. Let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. We see that God's reckoning of time for days and years is just like the gears in a watch or a clock. They all move at different speeds, all relate to each other in a different way.
Okay, that's really not what I'm talking about, and I don't know if I really agree with it, but I wanted to show you that because it gives you an idea of what is going on. There is a lot of meanings in the stars regarding biblical prophecy. What I'm trying to get to, I've been having a hard time getting to. So let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Okay, I don't necessarily agree with everything in this video. You can tell a lot of us Christians have different ideas on different things. But we're trying to watch and we need to pray to try to figure out what is actually going on. So here is the Revelation 12 sign in 5 minutes. There's no way you can cover this thing in 5 minutes, but the guy tries at least. So here we go, kind of give you a background of what I'm going to get into when I talk about Jupiter and Spica and Hezi. Hezi is the star here, and this is Spica. Okay, and this is this Virgo and Leo, just like the constellations you just saw in the previous clip.
On September 23rd, 2017, the sun, moon, and stars will align to fulfill a 2,000-year-old prophecy. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Before you click off this video, I understand there's been many false predictions, false prophecies over the years. This is different. Bear with me and see. First, you need to understand that God made the sun, moon, and stars, and they all obey his order. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in a season? So we see...
This isn't Job. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades? The Pleiades stars are actually coming together, or loose the bands of Orion. The stars in Orion are actually going apart. Now, how in the world would Job know that? Or, that's God. Man, if you knew that, back then, there's no way the astronomers knew that. But that's what those stars are doing right now. Anyways, I should get back on track.
Here that God himself says that he moved the constellations. They obey his ordained order. There's many more verses. Please pause the video to see them. They'll also be in the description. Okay, so we have the constellation Virgo clothed with the sun. And then, as you can see here, the moon is under her feet, and above her head is the 9 stars from the constellation Leo, plus the 3 planets that align perfectly. And to fulfill the birth prophecy, you have Jupiter that stays in the womb for 9 months. Absolute precision. Another thing you must realize is this is not astrology. This is the lost knowledge of biblical astronomy. Stick with me, and you'll see. Let's start at the beginning and see what God said. And let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Jesus himself said that when he returns there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. Think about this. If God wanted to speak to all his children across the entire earth and speak to them all at once in the same universal language, how would he do it? Look at Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world.
Their line, L-I-N-E, line, is gone through all the earth. This talks about alignments. If you realize when this, okay, how about the Star of Bethlehem? It was in alignment with the location of where the wise men were, because they saw it come down over where the place where the child was, Jesus was. It was in a house. It wasn't the manger. If you go back and read the scripture, it was a house. Jesus was probably about 2 years old. All your Christmas cards are wrong when they show the wise men at a manger. The shepherds were at a manger. It's a whole nother long story, but people don't read their Bibles, so they don't know. So anyways, but there was an alignment. Star, house, wise men. They were in a line. Okay? God works through alignments. That is biblical. It's in the scripture for the birth of Jesus. Okay, let's continue on. And right here it says their line has gone out through all the earth, and the words to the end of the world.
When Jesus was born, it was marked in the stars. The 3 wise men saw his star in the east.
We don't even know if it was 3 wise men. It was 3 gifts. See, whatever.
And knew of it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I always have to make my comments. Okay, here we go.
East and knew of it. What makes you think his second coming would be any different? Isn't this sign just the retelling of Jesus' birth? When Jesus was born, it was marked in the stars. The 3 wise men saw his star in the east and knew of it. What makes you think his second coming would be any different? Isn't this sign just the retelling of Jesus' birth? And didn't he say no man knows the day or the hour? We look at Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
No one knows the day or the hour is a Jewish idiom for the Feast of Trumpets. Okay? It's Yom Teruah. The Feast of Trumpets is Yom Teruah. Okay? He's telling you basically he's coming on the Feast of Trumpets. Most likely. That's what's happening. When he says no one knows the day or the hour. Because no one knew the day or the hour of the Feast of Trumpets. It was a 2-day festival, and they didn't know until they saw the first crescent of the new moon. Complicated, lots to talk about, and boy, the sign happened on Yom Teruah. Okay? So much to get into. Oh my gosh.
Revelation 1:1 shows us that the Father showed all things to Jesus when he ascended to the throne, and he showed us in the book of Revelation. Jesus himself, when he spoke to the churches, said that his believers, his followers, if they overcome and hold his words to the end, they would rule with a rod of iron. This is a very specific passage that connects Revelation 12 and a prophecy of what's going to happen for his believers.
Also, I think in Revelation 3:3 or something, that's why he says, if you will not watch and pray, you'll not know what time I'll come upon you, or what hour I'll come upon you. I probably should look that up for a moment. Hold on. Okay, Jesus is speaking to the church of Sardis. It says, remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, if you don't watch, I'll come on thee as a thief. You ever hear a thief in the night? And thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. What? And thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee? Oh, wait a second. No one knows the day or the hour. How are we supposed to know? Jesus, you're telling us we should be watching so we know, but you told us we won't be able to know. Oh, contradiction. No, it's not a contradiction. What's going on is that when he talks about no one knows the day or the hour, he's talking about the festival of Yom Teruah. And so you need to know that, and thou shalt not know, but you need to know also the time and the seasons, what kind of year, what years it might be, things like that. And that's kind of stuff I'm working on here. And that ties into why I had the dream of 3 before joy stand before the Son of Man, because I think I'm onto something. They need to know about it. And they need to watch, and they need to pray. Jesus said, watch and pray that you may be counted worthy. Luke 21:36. Watch and pray. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. So here again, we're told to watch, just like we were in Revelation 3:3, and pray. It didn't say pray in Revelation 3:3. That ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Alright, let's get back to that video.
Alright, so are we just cherry picking a couple verses and trying to put a prophecy behind it? Or is this found anywhere else in the Bible? I'm glad you asked. Unfortunately, we will not be able to read all these verses. Please feel free to pause and take a look at each one of these coinciding verses, which are all pieces to this grand puzzle. Well, what does it all mean? No one knows exactly. What's very interesting is the language that is used in Revelation 12, where the child is caught up unto God. The word caught up is the Greek word harpazo. It's the same word used in Thessalonians when Paul describes the rapture. We are not saying this is what's going to happen, but it is certainly intriguing and worthy to be aware of. The main message is to know that this alignment has not happened in the last 2,000 years since its prophecy. While it's imperative to...
It hasn't happened in like 7,000 years since the real thing happened together. Last time it happened was, with Jupiter and everything. The last time it happened, the 2,000 year one, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's been longer than 2,000 years. He's missing something there. The exact alignments and dates and everything, I think it hasn't happened. Something hasn't happened since the time of Adam and Eve. Okay, let's continue on.
Know that this ministry is not date setting. The facts are the facts. This alignment is set for September 23rd, 2017. Some have run the numbers, and the odds of this are in the trillions. And just 33 days before September 23rd, on August 21st, a total eclipse cuts the United States in half, which is extremely rare and we feel is very prophetic. So again, to quickly recap, you have a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars above her head, who just gave birth after a 9-month pregnancy. Please know this is barely even scratching the surface of how in-depth all this is. Please visit this channel and many other 12 stars above her head, who just gave